Shalom and good evening. This is TV7 Israel News, broadcasting to you from Jerusalem. And in today's top stories, the Islamist Hamas organization began the process of handing over control of the Gaza Strip's border crossings to the Western-backed Palestinian Authority of President Mahmoud Abbas under an Egyptian brokered agreement that aims to end a decade of internal division. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees in the Near East, UNRWA, said it discovered 2 weeks ago a Hamas tunnel underneath one of its schools in the Gaza Strip. Prime Minister Netanyahu stresses during a ceremony marking the 100th anniversary of a historic cavalry charge by Australian and New Zealander troops against the Ottoman forces near the city of Beer Sheba that while Israel seeks peace with all its neighbors, it will not tolerate any attacks on its sovereignty, peoples, and land. The Islamist Hamas organization began the process of handing over control of the Gaza Strip's border crossings to the Western-backed Palestinian Authority of President Mahmoud Abbas under an Egyptian brokered agreement that aims to end a decade of internal division. The move marks the most concrete implementation of the reconciliation agreement reached on the 11th of October, which Palestinians hope will ease economic restrictions on the Palestinian enclave and enable more fruitful negotiations for their goal of establishing an independent Palestinian state.
سيتم اليوم إن شاء الله تسليم معابر قطاع غزة لحكومة التوافق ويأتي هذا انسجاما مع اتفاق القاهرة ما بين حركتي فتح وحماس.
طبعا اليوم هذا يوم عظيم يسجل في تاريخ الشعب الفلسطيني انه عادت الشرعية الفلسطينية للمعابر، عادت حكومة الوفاق، أصبح حكومة واحدة تحت سيادة الرئيس أبو مازن، ولا يسعنا في هذا المقام أن نشكر جمهورية مصر العربية لدورها العظيم.
Israel and the United States voiced reservations about the intra-Palestinian unity deal, however, giving the ongoing refusal by the Islamist Hamas organization to relinquish its weapons, challenging the Palestinian Authority's true ability to regain full control across the Gaza Strip. Meanwhile, Palestinian sources informed TV7 that Palestinian Authority personnel have arrived at Gaza's crossings on the borders with Israel and Egypt as their Hamas counterparts packed up their equipment and handed over full control in full compliance with the Cairo agreement. Now, to a related matter, Egypt convened a firm message to the leadership of Hamas that it would not accept even a single rocket fire from the Gaza Strip towards Israel in response to the demolition of the attack tunnel on the Gaza Strip's border that penetrated Israeli territory. Palestinian sources revealed that the Egyptian feared an escalation between the Islamist group in Gaza and Israel would harm the reconciliation process between the Western-backed Palestinian Authority and Hamas. The sources said that while the Islamic Jihad, which is the second most powerful militant group in the Palestinian enclave, had pressured Hamas to fire rockets at Israel, Egypt's firm stance on the matter convinced the Hamas leadership to refrain from escalating the situation. Now to a related matter, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees in the Near East, UNRWA, said it discovered 2 weeks ago a Hamas tunnel underneath one of its schools in the Gaza Strip. It was not immediately clear who was responsible for digging the recently revealed tunnel. UNRWA officials complained to the relevant officials against the violation of the UN's policy of neutrality in areas where its forces and bodies are present. In a statement, the UN body emphasized that the presence of the tunnel underneath an UNRWA facility, which enjoys immunity from international law, is unacceptable and places the children and staff in danger. Immediately after the tunnel's discovery, UNRWA staff closed down the school and sealed off the exposed space underground. The school resumed normal activities last Wednesday after 10 days of closure. It is important to note that Israel was informed immediately upon the discovery of the tunnel. Now, in other news, during a ceremony marking the 100th anniversary of a historic cavalry charge by Australian and New Zealander troops against Ottoman forces in a World War I battle that helped change the map of the Middle East, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared that their victory in the Battle of Beer Sheba, a biblical city in what was then Ottoman Palestine, broke a strategic Turkish defense line and paved the way to the conquest of the Holy Land by British imperial forces, which was a significant part of a history line that led to Israel's creation 31 years later.
We are here standing in the city of Abraham. 4,000 years ago, our forefathers came here. Now, because of that day, 100 years ago, you see the modern city of Beer Sheba, with the cyber headquarters, with the future in our hands. We have peace, prosperity, and security, but it was made possible because of those heroes.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, during a memorial ceremony for those falling in the historic Battle of Beer Sheba, took the opportunity to reiterate Jerusalem's position that while Israel seeks peace with all its neighbors, it will not tolerate any attacks on its sovereignty, peoples, and land. Netanyahu also re-emphasized a warning to the enemies of the Jewish state not to test the resolve of Israel and its military.
We set out a simple policy. We seek peace with all our neighbors, but we will not tolerate any attacks on our sovereignty, on our people, on our land, whether from the air, from the sea, from the ground, or below the ground. We attack those who seek to attack us. And those who contemplate that, I strongly advise you, do not test the will of the State of Israel or the Army of Israel.
Now, with regard to the ongoing operation by Iraqi forces against the Kurdistan regional government, Turkish Prime Minister Binali Yildirim announced that the Iraqi central government has taken over control of the main land crossing into Turkey from Iraq's autonomous Kurdish regional government.
Sınır kapısını da bu sabah itibariyle Habur merkezi hükümete teslim edildi. Bundan böyle Habur geçişindeki bütün kontroller Irak hükümeti tarafından yapılacak.
Prime Minister Yildirim further announced that in line with the growing cooperation between Ankara and the leadership in Baghdad, Turkey had agreed to open another border gate with Iraq as part of a route that would lead to the city of Tal Afar, some 40 kilometers west of Mosul and home to a predominantly ethnic Turkmen population.
Önümüzdeki kısa vadede de yine Zummar, Tel Afer üzerinden ayrı bir koridoru da devreye alacağız. Bunun çalışmalarını da Irak hükümetiyle beraber gerçekleştireceğiz.
Iraqi and Turkish soldiers could be seen celebrating at the Ibrahim El Khalil border crossing in the border area of Fish Khabur, where Iraqi and Turkish flags were also hoisted. The capture of Iraq's border region with Turkey, which is located within the Kurdish autonomous region of northern Iraq, came after the Iraqi central government demanded control of all border crossings since the Kurdish staged an independence referendum last month, which Baghdad considered illegal. In the past 2 weeks, Iraqi forces, together with Iranian-backed Shiite militias, launched an operation against the Kurdish region which resulted in the recapture of most of the disputed territories held by the Kurdish forces outside their autonomous region, including the old city of Kirkuk, which Kurds had held since 2014. Thank you for joining us. Keep praying for the peace of Israel and the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Yair Pinto. Have a good evening, and we will see you again tomorrow at the same time.
In order to donate to TV7 Israel News, please follow these simple steps. First, press the Donate logo, located at the bottom left side of TV7 Israel News Facebook page, or on the Donate tab at the head of the page. Then insert the amount you'd like to donate, and fill in your credit card information. Just like this. And press Review Donation and continue. After reviewing your donation details, please press Donate to finalize your donation. That's it! Your donation is now complete, and an email with your donation details has been sent to your email address. You can also print your donation receipt by pressing the link here. Thank you for supporting TV7 Israel News.